Well, good morning. Thank you to everyone for being here today. You may not know, or you may know, my name is Cy Rogers, and I'm from Wichita State University's Community Engagement Institute, and we are the group that is going to be helping facilitate the breakout sessions today. As we are moving just a touch behind, I might go through my introduction a little bit quicker than I might ordinarily. So, as I said, my name is Cy Rogers, and I'm excited to be with you today to advance this work. We are going to be together in this space overall until about 11:40, but we will be taking a scheduled 10-minute break at about 10:50 in the middle. I would invite you to unmute, turn your camera on, feel free to use the chat feature, and feel free to interrupt as I'm talking if you have questions, if you can't hear anything like that. I would be more happy to be clear than to not be heard. So the agenda does have a few specific focus areas, and our plan for this time is similar, but a little slightly different than what is noted. During our time together today, we will be covering strengths, opportunities, challenges, and priorities. This information will help provide the work groups with some key information on how to make informed decisions about next steps for implementation. As we discuss these areas, I'm inviting you to show up today not only representing your organization, but also your sector. So you're going to be asked to wear two hats and brainstorm and share from both organizational lens and sector lens. The time will move relatively quickly, and in order to assure that we cover all of the areas and that everyone gets their break, I'm going to be using a timer on my phone to keep track and keep us moving along. At the end of the breakouts, there will be an opportunity to share out some key takeaways from the session with the full group. So be thinking if you would like to volunteer for this. Katie, you and I were right on the exact same wavelength at the same time. And I would like to shout out Katie from the weighing in team here for being a wonderful help today. So now that we all know what to expect of our time, let's get a little bit more oriented. And that means we're going to introduce you to something called Jamboard. Some of you, I'm sure, have used Jamboard before, and some of you have not, but we are going to learn how to use it today. So Jamboard is a way to collect thoughts and notes. It's free. It's a Google product, so you can use it at home later if you want to make your own. But this is what we're going to be using today, and this is what it looks like. And you will be able to access it from this link that I am putting in the chat. Now, inevitably, some of you may not be on Zoom today, and you might be calling in on your phone. Feel free to use the chat function and send a message to me, and I'd be more than happy to make a post-it for you and put it up on the screen, so that way everybody gets to participate this way. So to start a sticky note, you will go to the left side of your screen and click on the sticky note icon, which is this one right here. Type your message on the sticky note, and then you can either save it or press enter to send your sticky to the Jamboard for the group to see. You don't need to move it. I'll be moving them around to make sure everybody gets to see everything. So we're going to practice this because it does take a little bit of practice. So feel free to go ahead and create a sticky note, and on it, add your name, your organization, and your sector. And I'll give everyone a couple minutes to do that here. So go to this fourth one down, create a sticky note that has your name, your organization, and your sector. And we are on the second Jamboard here. You're able to advance through.
Hi, this is Andrea. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi. Sorry, I had to step away from the office to go pick up a sick kid, so I had to call in on this.
Of course.
It's something I just want to be participating. Yes, I'm not able to type or anything right now.
Okay.
But for my name, Andrea. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. What is your whole name?
Andrea Johnson.
Okay.
And my organization, I work at the Franklin County Health Department.
Okay.
And then I guess sector is just local public health.
Okay. I've got you there. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We got 4 folks there on the second screen. Oh, just a quick note, feel free to advance at the top of the screen. You'll see this button that moves to the second screen. We're going to be moving through these screens throughout the day. So for this one, we're working on the second screen. I should have made that a little more clear. My apologies. How is everyone feeling using this so far? Tech is not working. Chris Nicholson, I will add you. Thank you, Chris.
And this is Cristina Fernandez. I am in the phone and I cannot really see much.
Okay. Feel free to chime in on the phone as you go. Where do you work, Christina?
Children's Mercy.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Way management.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, as we are sort of stuck to time here, I'm going to go ahead and move us forward to our next screen. So if you are using the tech at home, we are going to move to the third screen. And we're going to think of strengths. And when you think of strengths within professional development, education, and training, what can you leverage to move this work forward? And I would like everyone to take about 2 minutes to reflect on their own individually and brainstorm. And when my alarm goes off here, we'll start collecting these thoughts. So once again, while you're thinking of what strengths exist in professional development, education, and training that you can leverage.
How you doing? We are already on breakout rooms. If you want to select a breakout room that you like to go.
I am all.
Yes.
Sorry, no.
Okay. For those of you who are calling in, feel free to think on that. And then when we're going to be sharing ideas on the screen, just unmute and you can share them out loud. But for now, be brainstorming on what strengths you can think of when leveraging moving forward professional development, training, and education.
The top of the board says strengths. So we've got some coming in now. We've got employers and insurance covering gym memberships. They're kind, motivated, have the ability to reach a large amount of patients and families through their work, and like to model activities for patients. But after you have your idea on the
All right, about 20 seconds left for brainstorming here. Any ideas that are coming to people? Okay. I see that we have some ideas that have already been shared on the screen. Ability to self-reflect and find ways to improve. Collaborating with state agencies to get training approved in providers in early childhood. Most professions require some continuing education requirements that we can utilize to create professional curriculum. Collaboration with other professionals. Strategies for best practice. and many well-educated individuals who would love to work with adults on their professional development and provide further expertise. We have a pretty good carrot in, is it WIC? WIC to access parents' time to discuss the benefits of physical activity, and participation in evidence-based train the trainer, or PALS, to educate child care providers. Is there anything that has showed up on the screen today that is surprising or particularly exciting to you? And feel free to just unmute and talk out loud.
So this is Andrea Johnson.
Yes.
With the train the trainer with the PALS, physical activity learning sessions, that's something I'm also involved with. It's something that's really still fairly new to me because I did just get to do the training for that, but it is very exciting because I am able to go into the child care centers, the early education centers, and kind of teach those teachers who are with these children to start kind of modeling those behaviors for these kids to create a lifelong physical activity, just kind of ingraining that into them. So that is something that is a really big strength. It's something that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, but with the community, or the childhood consults, I apologize with my kid right now, being able to provide those consultations to the child care providers, it is an asset. It is, I think, underutilized, but it's something that's really great as far as a strength for building on to physical activity and just building that up in the communities.
Thank you so much for that.
I would just echo, I was the one that put that on there, Andrea, and I was in the training with you. This is Joan Delahunt, and that was just, it was very powerful to be part of that. And Missouri is one of the first, states to be a participant. I think there's like maybe 9 states total. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andrea, but they're kind of working their way through the United States, but it's a way for us to engage with just actively with child care providers. And I work as an occupational therapist at Operation Breakthrough, and it's a very large organization that takes care of many, many children. And I think that this would be just an amazing opportunity if we can get them to participate with us in this project.
Thank you so much.
I totally agree with that. And like Go Knapsack was another one. Trying to get, I know that's something that Missouri does participate in, but trying to get providers on board with that is also like a really big strength too, for especially with the early childhood education, that arena.
Thank you. I'm seeing in the chat here that Kansas is going to offer PALS at some point during our funding year with NEMORS. And someone is asking if there's a website to learn more about PALS. Those of you that do know more, if you'd be welcome to share that in the chat, that would be very helpful. Is there anything else that was surprising or exciting about these responses?
Yeah, sorry, this is Jason Holzer here. I think the one thing that we can bank on is most professionals require continuing education. So the fact that it's a requirement makes it a anytime that things are mandatory, like you're going to have people that are going to be coming to you regardless because they're going to have to do it. So how do we make it enjoyable, engaging, exciting, and uplifting, right? How do we do that? Because sometimes, I don't know, my own experience as an educator and as a PE teacher, that some of the professional development didn't really resonate with me or didn't connect with me. So even if they have to do it, giving them options and choices of things that resonate with them, but still would meet those requirements, I think would be something that would be a good strength to utilize on that comment.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, this is Jay Robertson. I'm
Hi,
at
Jay.
Children's Mercy Hospital and one of the sports medicine docs, and specifically, I put that on there about, I was mostly thinking about PE teachers because I think, with as many professional development days as teachers have, I've just talking to some teachers and people in the education system, I think PE teachers are kind of left out on that. And I think we've got a really unique opportunity with Children's Mercy, with as many people in our organizations between the athletic trainers and the physical therapists and the doctors who are specially trained in strength and conditioning and fundamental movement patterns and things like that that could really help with kind of early primary school PE activities to kind of bring some ideas and some expertise to those teachers throughout the region. The problem is getting it on the right data to accommodate the most teachers as possible. But making it online available and things like that would also be helpful. Although I do enjoy in-person stuff.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So in the interest of time, are there any themes that you're seeing here? Anything that's jumping out as a trend?
I think I'm seeing just that people really do want to work together. People really do want to learn more things. They know that things aren't what they should be. And I think it's just like the last guy said, there's a need for it, but it's just figuring out how to schedule it and how to make it work so that we can reach as many people as possible. But I do feel like there's positive energy. People want to learn more.
Thank you. Any other themes? Any other trends jumping out to anyone?
I think from what it looks like is we've got a lot of really well-educated people with a lot of expertise. So I think we've got the skill to do a lot of professional development. That kind of jumps out at me on that page.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I'll give about 1 more minute to think about strengths related to professional development, educated or training. And at this point, any ideas in this last minute would be useful.
This is Cristina Fernandez.
Yes.
One of the things that I was thinking is how we can involve the stakeholders to understand that we have that expertise and that we want to work together, because without them, it's going to be really hard to get what we really want. I think the stakeholders will be really good. And the other thing that I was thinking is, like, I know there is a lot of volunteer opportunities for schools that they're looking for things. If we can train people to train volunteers to support whatever we know or whatever is relevant or whatever is important, I think we should utilize that. I'm saying that because I had a little bit of experience with that, and it was magnificent to work with volunteers in the past.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I'm going to take your what you just said as an opportunity, ironically enough, to move on to our next section, which is about opportunities. So I see some folks have already been making notes on here. And if you're using the Jamboard at the top of the screen, please advance to frame 4. And I'm going to set again a timer for about 2 minutes while you think of what opportunities for collaboration there are related to professional development, training, and education. And more specifically, when you think of professional development, training, and education, what cross-sector opportunities for collaboration are there? So I'm going to set that timer for 2 minutes and think about professional development, training, and education opportunities cross-sector that exist. about 1 minute left of brainstorming ideas related to what cross-sector opportunities for collaboration exist when thinking about professional development, training, and education. Okay. Feel free to continue adding as ideas come to mind. We're not limited by that time there. But we have some ideas on the board. We have healthcare to schools. We have the ability to learn from the best. We have providing a hands-on and engaging approach as opposed to the traditional lecture style. We have healthcare to sports, coaches, parents, players. We have sports to schools and vice versa. We have collaboration with health professionals to provide health-focused training and early care and education providers. We have ways to educate parents in a way that feels helpful. And as an occupational therapist, I have the pleasure and opportunity to partner with educators, families, and the medical community to promote physical activity initiatives. And again, I would ask, is there anything up here that's surprising or exciting to you? Do any of these ideas jump out as something you hadn't considered?
I think the one about the occupational therapist, like, educators partnering with professionals that, so adding their collaboration, because, educators may not have the knowledge or the academic on like occupational therapists to help, kids, but the occupational therapist might not have the knowledge of how do you truly connect with kids to help them understand maybe the complex language of an occupational therapist too, right? So that combination could work really well. And the classroom management, or like, be able to manage a bunch of kids at one time to get them to engage, pay attention, those kind of things too.
Thank you for that. We've had a couple added, mass media to touch all other sectors with education, and collaboration with both states to approve clock hours for early care and education providers. Is there anything standing out or surprising to you?
A couple of sorry.
Christina, are you unmuted?
Oh.
I like the idea of that providing kind of a hands-on engaged approach. So probably, doing maybe some smaller groups as opposed to just the internet. Hey, watch this, 45-minute lecture on whatever. I really like that idea. I think you get a lot better education from it. I think a lot more engagement, as the sticky note says.
Perfect, thank you. So I'll ask the opposite question now. What's missing?
So I think some things that are missing in that are maybe, and I didn't, and this is something that I've been struggling with too in my role, but including organizations that you wouldn't typically think of being involved in physical activity. I know, Parks and Recreation, they're a really big player in this, and that's something that I feel like in my community specifically, we haven't necessarily engaged enough with. but they do play a really important role in that, and they have so much access to different grants and funds. And I think also just kind of reaching out to other partners in the community to let them know how they can impact and what role they play in, so it's not so siloed. And just I noticed that just in my community in general, just trying to bring everyone to the table and really having those engaging conversations and talking with people instead of necessarily talking at them during trainings, because then you can find ways to leverage everyone else's strengths to really come together and make a pretty impactful difference.
Thank you. I see added in the chat training in obesity and PE activities, and also training at schools. And would you call that what's surprising or exciting, or something that's missing?
I'd say that's probably something that's missing, something we could work on. On that last comment about engaging other groups, I think that's a really good, really important point. Julie McCleary, who was up in Washington State, who spoke to the sports sector group, she made that same point, that one of their big contributions of their 100+ organizations involved up there was from organizations like the Boys and Girls Club and things that aren't traditional physical activity or sport organizations. And they had a lot of good input on how to add physical activity, and they had a lot of kids in need of physical activity too. So it kind of worked both ways on that. So I think that's a really good point that was just made.
Excellent. Thank you for that. We'll take about 1 more minute to talk about what might be missing here.
I think another thing that might be, go ahead, Joan.
Okay, sorry, I'll be really quick. So basically, I was just thinking, I really liked what somebody said, ways to educate parents in a way that feels helpful. I feel like that's so important for anybody. Like, as far as like that one woman was talking about, knowing your audience, knowing what they want, knowing what they're interested in. Because I feel like a lot of times we just say, oh, you need to do this because this is going to be good for you, or this is going to be healthy, or blah, blah, blah. But is the message lost? Like, how do we really get them? We know what they want, and how do we get them in a way that's educate them in a way, or teach them in a way that's going to be helpful? Because so oftentimes I feel like these programs they have good intent behind them, but they come across very condescending or kind of punishing to parents. And I really feel like that's the wrong message to be sent. So if there's a way that we could encourage, promote exploration, ideas that are generated not only from the educators, but also from the audience, the parents, or the child care providers, whoever is the audience, I feel like that level of respect should be there as well.
Thank you so much. I see in the chat something about online family groups.
And so I'll be real quick too. I think one thing is that's missing is collaborating with like mental health groups and social emotional intelligence, because you can promote physical activity, but if you don't feel confident in yourself, if you don't feel like doing it, it's not going to happen. So like the mental health piece, the social emotional learning piece of like getting the feeling of wanting to be healthy, wanting to be moving is a foundational work for them to actually get out and want to move. So
thank you so much. So what themes are you seeing? Is anything emerging from here? And the person in the chat, I'm saving that to my notes here. But what themes, what trends?
it seems like the ability to collaborate with mental health or with healthcare professionals and educators seems a very common theme. Comes across multiple times, it looks like.
Anything
I think
else?
also another theme that I noticed was just having those really engaging conversations, and also like using that as a way to look at access while we're having those conversations, to making sure that there is equitable access to these. So someone had mentioned engaging, the mental health aspect of that, and that isn't, that can be a barrier if someone is struggling with mental health, where they're not confident or they just don't feel that they're able to, but partnering to make sure that they do have that. So I think that is a theme about just access really can be accomplished through those engaging conversations versus just speaking at someone, telling them that they need to do something.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And as you might have seen scroll across, there's about 300 seconds left till we return to the main room. Any other themes, any other trends, or anything you're noticing?
It looks like people want to collaborate and get some of these things done. So, that desire is just itself a really great opportunity.
Thank you for that. So we'll take these last couple minutes in this section before we return back to the main room for the physical activity break. And I would collect any stray thoughts that you might have regarding opportunities related to physical activity, professional development, training, and education. Any stray thoughts on this at all related to opportunities?
Related to opportunities, maybe engaging employers, especially like in factories. A lot of like industrial complexes, especially in my area, they don't have walking trails. There's no sidewalks, so there's really no space for that. But I think engaging employers more on that conversation of physical activity and how it can improve, their, I guess, prevent loss financially to them, is something they'll look at, and that might be a really big opportunity for education and training.
Thank you.
I was just going to say similar, just really speaking with administration, people in charge that bring these professional development opportunities to their workers. I think that they really need to listen to the benefits of why we would want to do this for them, all the overall health and wellness things.
Thank you for that. Any other stray thoughts regarding opportunities for professional development, training, and education in physical activity?
Can I ask everyone a question? Did anybody attend the schools meeting yesterday? Okay, it was incredible. There was an entire section on professional development in school settings. So I encourage you definitely to go review that YouTube video. But on that note, if you don't mind if I say something, but within opportunities, Sean was talking about how within school settings, we need to focus on the environmental culture change. And as physical educators, really be open to that and understand that there's opportunities to engage in physical activity within the school day and not just focus on only classroom settings like PE settings. So I feel like there's opportunities within professional development to be open to new ideas with that approach.
Thank you very much for that, Katie. As you might have seen, we have about 1 minute left, probably 40 seconds now. Please be thinking over the next little bit about who at the end of the day you would like to present out. We'll let the group self-nominate, and we'll decide that when we come back after the physical activity break. I would like to thank you all for your time, and I look forward to seeing you all again shortly.